whatever the date, November the 4th at 7, our regular business meeting. At this time, Sandy, if you could read the notice of electronic meeting.
Yep. This meeting of the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission is being held pursuant to Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3708.2, which allows a public body to hold electronic meetings when the locality in which it is located has declared a local state of emergency, and the catastrophic nature of the emergency makes it impracticable or unsafe to assemble a quorum in a single location. And the purpose of the meeting is to provide for the discharge of its lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities. This meeting is being held via electronic video and audio means through Zoom online meetings and is accessible to the public. There will be an opportunity for public comment during that portion of the agenda. Notice has been provided to the public through notice at the TJPDC offices, to the media, website postings, and agenda. The meeting minutes will reflect the nature of the emergency, but the meeting was held by electronic communication means and the type of electronic communication means by which the meeting was held. A recording of the meeting will be posted at tjpdc.org within 10 days of the meeting.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sandy. At this time, let's do a roll call for who is present. Sandy?
Councilor Payne.
Here.
Mr. Stolzenberg.
Here.
Supervisor Galloway.
Present.
Supervisor Price.
Here.
Supervisor O'Brien.
He said here.
Here. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Wilkinson.
Here.
Supervisor Barlow.
Yes.
Supervisor Babiak.
Here.
Ms. Bishop.
Here.
Supervisor Herring.
Here.
And Supervisor Rutherford.
Here. Excellent. Do we have a quorum? I think we do. All right. Moving forward into matters of the public. At this time, we're going to be taking comments from the public of no more than 2 minutes of speaking. Sandy, at this time, do we have any written or any other notifications of comments at this time?
We do not.
Hearing none. Do we have any members of the public or in the waiting room looking to speak? No. Great. So at the time, I will open public comments, and hearing that we have none, we will close public comments. Moving on to presentations. Christine and David, you guys have the floor.
Great. For presentations, the Finance Executive Committee met preceding this meeting to hear from David Foley, with us from Robinson Farmer Cox and Don Reed, our Finance Director. They did go ahead and make a motion to recommend the audit to you all for approval. And we have David Foley here to present an overview of that FY21 financial report. So David, I'm going to give you the floor and you've got our first presentation.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is David Foley. I'm a partner with Robinson Farmer Cox Associates, and we completed the audit for the Commission's FY 2021 fiscal year, and so here to present that to you all. Christine said I met with the executive committee, and we went through the audit report in fine detail. So I'll give the abbreviated version here. But with the audit that we do for the commission, there's really three main pieces to that audit. One, of course, we audit the financial statements to make sure that the financial statements have been prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then the other two pieces of the audit we do in accordance with government auditing standards, which is one, in addition to just looking at the numbers themselves, we look at the internal controls that the commission has over its financial reporting. So as part of the audit, we'll look at those controls and also test those controls to see that they're operating as they were designed to. And then the third piece of the audit is the federal compliance piece. So for the major federal grant programs for the commission, OMB provides basically a compliance supplement with a whole list of compliance requirements that the commission has to comply with. when it's carrying out and expending its federal grant program. So as part of the audit, we go through that checklist to make sure that the commission is complying with those requirements. So as there are 3 pieces to the audit, included in the audited financial statements are 3 different opinions, reports from us that communicate the results. And I'll share my screen here to pull those up. So here's the, this is the draft of the audited financial statements. And so on PDF page 5, this is a first report from us. This is our independent auditor's report. And in this report, it states that we did perform an audit on the commission's financial statements. This report talks about management's responsibility for the financial statements, which management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. This report talks about our responsibilities as auditors, which we are to and express an opinion on the commission's financial statements. And then at the top of page 2 of this report is the opinion we have issued on the commission's financial statements. And we have issued an unmodified opinion on the commission's financial statements, which is the cleanest opinion an auditor can give on the set of financial statements. Basically, an unmodified opinion means that the commission's financial statements have been prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So again, that's a clean opinion on the financial statements. The other 2 reports from us are in the back of the report in the compliance section. The first one starts on PDF page 66. This is our report over the commission's internal control over financial reporting. This report was clean as well. No significant deficiencies or material weaknesses were noted as part of the audit. Again, we feel that the commission has strong internal controls over its financial reporting. Again, an example of that is, as part of the audit, when we're going through making sure that the commission's books and financial statements are accurate and prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. A lot of times during an audit, you'll find items that need to be adjusted to be in compliance with those standards. And as part of the audit, as in previous years for the commission, we did not have any audit adjustments. So again, I think that speaks to the internal controls over financial reporting that the commission has, and again, just the strength of the finance team for the commission. And so the third and last report from us is 2 pages down. This is our report over the commission's compliance with its major federal grant programs. Again, this report was clean as well. No significant deficiencies or material weaknesses were noted in the commission's compliance with its major federal grant programs. Also, no other items of non-compliance were noted as part of the audit. So it was a very, very clean audit again this year for the commission. Again, those are the 3 reports from us, and again, they were clean. So a clean audit. That's all I have, but I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions for Dave? And of course, we have our finance guru with us, Don, for either of them at this time. All right. I'm not hearing any. Christine, do you have any final thoughts or anything you need to echo? You're muted.
Sorry about that. I just want to make sure that again, I did this in the executive meeting, but another sincere thank you to David and his team for the work that they did on this audit. And a particular thank you to Don Reed for another exceptional year of our finance department bringing in a clean audit. We thank you for all the work that you did to get us where we are. So I appreciate you both for this.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate that. Christine, thank you, staff. Does anybody, last opportunity, any comments in regards to the financial report audit? I'm not seeing any. At this time, it is the chair's suggestion that we leave this in the consent agenda so that we can go through a couple other reports quickly and efficiently. It was, for the record, the Financial Committee's suggestion to approve this audit as presented. So thank you so much. And Dave, we appreciate you all and all the hard work that you guys have been doing for us over the years and many of our other municipalities. We get to see you a few times every year. So
yes. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you in a couple months here.
Great. Without objection, we will move on to TJPDC. Is there any objections to moving on? Great. Thank you all so much. Moving on to the TJPDC 50th anniversary. Mr. Blunt.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, am I coming through okay, loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I have just a few slides I think Christine's going to put up on the screen just to talk with you briefly this evening, just kind of an initial conversation about the upcoming anniversary, 50th anniversary for TJPDC, which would be in 2022. And this is really just kind of a put it on your radar, whet your appetite kind of thing, so that we can be thinking about what activities or events or what have you we may want to do to celebrate the 50th anniversary. Next slide, please. So I thought I'd just give you a little history and a little background on PDCs and the origin of them, dating back all the way to 1966 with what was known as the Hahn Commission. At the state level, Marshall Hahn was at that time the president of Virginia Tech, and he was charged with leading a study which resulted in a new concept, which was the creation of regional planning district commissions. Those recommendations were codified into the Virginia Area Development Act a couple of years later. And then later, the name was changed to be the Regional Cooperation Act, which is what PDCs and regional councils operate under today. And again, as you know, PDCs, the framework for them that's laid out in the state code is encouraging and facilitating not only that local government cooperation, but also providing that link between the state and localities for addressing issues on a regional basis. Next slide, please. So within the first year after the legislation was adopted in 1968, you had most of the PDCs that had already established. There originally were 22, now 21. So a couple of years ago, many of the PDCs were celebrating their 50th anniversary in 2019. TJPDC took their time, careful and thoughtful deliberation, and a year later in 1970 came out with the proposed charter agreement, which could be effective the following year. But actually, we found in doing some research that the sign-ons for local governments and establishing commission actually continued into 1972. So that is our base year to get us to 50 years in 2022. And I just threw in that last bullet there, as I wear the other hat as executive director of VAPDC, that VAPDC came along in the late 1980s to serve as a mechanism to help coordinate and cooperate between PDCs and regional councils. Next slide, please. So 10 years ago, actually, I believe in 2012, and it even really stretched into the first part of 2013, if my memory serves me, for the 40th anniversary, there are a few activities that are listed there that the commission undertook just in a celebratory type mode, having some commission meetings out in the jurisdictions, which I thought was a great idea and went really well. At the time, we were not doing a lot of training events for members. And so we had a series of what we called public service training events in some of the areas that we concentrate our work in at the commission, transportation and housing and environment. We created a special letterhead and logo and some other materials that we used throughout the anniversary year. And then also had a 40th anniversary celebration, which was, I believe, an open house that we held there at the TJPDC offices. So last slide is next. And again, just really wanted to put this out there to you all. we'll plan to come back to you probably early in 2022 at our first meeting, maybe with some ideas about some things for you to consider doing throughout the course of the year. And certainly, any ideas that you have that you would like for us to take a look at to celebrate the 50th anniversary, we'd certainly welcome those, in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, so the chair has lots of ideas already, just flowing with them. So that's awesome. Thank you, David. Anything else?
I'd also, when we met last month, that I would give you just a quick update on the elections at this meeting, since those just occurred 2 days ago. And I'm sure you probably know the outcome of the elections. It's been all over the media, of course, the last 48 hours. We do have 3 Republicans that were elected to statewide office, governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general that will take office in January. There will also be a change in the majority party in the Virginia House of Delegates. All 100 delegates were up for election. It had been a 55 to 45 Democratic majority. As of today, it looks like that the Republicans will have the majority by a 52 to 48 count. So you had a change of 7 with those elections. None of them around here. All the members of our local delegation, the delegates that were representing our localities, all won re-election. The losses were had, I think, 3 down in the Hampton Roads area and a couple more in South Side, and 2 more in different other parts of the state. So certainly stay tuned for more information to come out in terms of House leadership. So we'll have new committee chairs and makeup of committees. So it'll certainly be a different landscape for the 2022 session once that gets rolling in January. And then on the local front, we will have some new members on boards of supervisors and city council in 2022. 1 new member for Albemarle, Fluvanna, Greene, and Louisa counties. There'll be 2 new members serving on the city council. And no new members in Nelson County, Mr. Chairman. Everybody that was on the ballot won re-election. So that is my quick election update.
Great. Thank you so much, David. And of course, I have some more comments to make as we get towards the back. We do have some members I'd like to address personally and thank them, of course, for their service. But if you have nothing else, everyone, if we could be on thinking about what we should do for our 50th, I personally think it should be a fairly nice shindig. I don't know as it relates to costs, because since we have a great partnership coming up with Firefly and CVEC, how we might be able to have them be part of it, whether that's I'm not sure sponsorships work, but however that can go, lots of ideas to come and see what we can do. Maybe it's doing something here at the PDC and getting a bar and, getting some catering. I think that might be a great idea and affordable in downtown, but yeah, just keep in mind, I would hope that I'll talk with Christine, but maybe we could do that in the first 2-3 months of the new year. And hopefully things have calmed down with health and safety stuff. So other than that, anything else we need to address, David or Christine, as it relates to presentations? None. Thank you so much, David. Moving on to the consent agenda. What we'll do is we'll go on to the financial reports. Christine?
Great, happy to give a very brief overview. I did want to say, I believe historically, a presentation of the financials was given on a quarterly basis, and the monthly financials were just a part of the consent agenda. So if there's consensus among you all that we return to that, I'll go ahead and do a quarterly in December, and then from every month following that on the non-quarterly months, I will just include the financials, but there won't necessarily be presentation unless there's questions or discussion needed. So for our quick dashboard report, which is in your packet, our net quick assets have decreased ever so slightly. We have just under 9 months of available operating expenses. Our goal is 5, so we are well within our goal, and that allows us to continue to build our capital reserve account, which is just under 400,000. Our unrestricted cash on hand is hovering just under $350,000, which is 3.5 months of average operating average monthly operating expenses. In the month of September, we had another net gain month. So we gained just over 2,500 for the month, which gives us a fiscal year to date net gain of just over 21,000. As far as total income for September, we're 25% through the fiscal year, and we are at 21% of received budgeted income, and we are at 21.7% of budgeted operating expenses. So we're right where we need to be for that. And then as far as our accrued revenues, you guys get that report in your packet each month, which shows the contract balances for FY22. We currently have just over $2 million in grant funding remaining. For the remaining 9 months that we have in the year, we have available just over 116,000 per month. Operating expenses in September were 102,000, and the 12-month average is 98,000. So we have ample grant money to get us through our operating expenses through the end of the year. I think this year in particular, since we have had continued staff openings and transitions, as we get closer to the end of the year, we will start looking at if there are balances remaining in grants, the potential to roll them into the FY23 fiscal year, or in cases where we can't do a direct rollover, there could be a soft rollover into the following fiscal year, but we'll look at that as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year. Other than that, that's all I have for the quick update.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions for Christine in terms of financial reports? Not seeing any at this time. Of course, the first item was minutes of the meeting. Does anybody have any edits they need to make in regards to that? Hearing and seeing none. The final item, of course, is the financial report, which we had just received. Of course, we, as the financial committee, had recommended that be approved. It is the chair's recommendation that we approve the consent agenda as presented. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion. Oh,
motion from Mr. O'Brien. Need a second.
I think you were there, Dale.
Yeah,
Dale.
second.
Dale is the second. With that, since we have the financial audit report, let's do a roll call vote. Sandy.
Sure. Counselor Payne.
Yes.
Mr. Stolzenberg.
Aye.
Supervisor Galloway.
Yes.
Supervisor Price.
Aye.
Supervisor O'Brien.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Wilkinson.
Aye.
Mr. Barlow.
Yes.
So sorry, Supervisor Barlow. Supervisor Babiak.
Aye.
Ms. Bishop.
I abstained from the minutes. I did other things.
Thank you.
Supervisor Herring.
Aye.
And Supervisor Rutherford.
Aye. Thank you so much for doing the roll call vote. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to resolutions, there are none. Moving on to new business, there's also none. Let's go on and get into the interim executive director's report. Christine.
Yep. At this time, Don, I just want to make sure I thank you again. You are, of course, welcome to stay through the whole meeting, but since the audit was just approved, if you also choose to leave the meeting, then you are welcome to do so at this time. But obviously, you can stay throughout the whole thing if you want to. If you do want to leave, you just have to hit the red little end button in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay. For the executive director's monthly report, the first item on there was the DHCD FY21 annual report and the FY22 annual funding contract. Both of copies of those were included within the packet. The Commonwealth's PDCs are required through the Regional Cooperation Act to submit an annual report to DHCD that details a description of all of our activities for the year, our revenues and expenses. And so I just wanted to attach that copy so that you all had that. We don't need to go through it because you have heard throughout the year all of the updates on all of those activities, so you know what they are. The second thing that's in there is the annual funding contract for FY22. All the PDCs are receiving $14,000 more per year than in years past. And we can attribute that to and thank the successful initiative of the Virginia Planning District Commission, Association of Planning District Commissions, to get that amount increased for all the PDCs. As far as staffing update, we are still working towards filling our positions, but we are finding great success, and I will have updates for you in the December meeting on that. And then legislative staff is meeting with the local governing bodies during their November and December meetings to present that draft regional program some of you have already seen. Once the program is finalized in early to mid-December, it'll be distributed and posted on the TJPDC website. Staff continues to work with several localities on their legislative bills and legislative initiatives. And the draft requests for bills are to be introduced by the first day of the legislative session, must be submitted to the legislative staff in Richmond by the end of November. Finally, staff will provide a short legislative report previewing the 22 General Assembly at your December meeting. Please forgive my reading it to you. I wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything out of that legislative report. All right, as far as housing, a couple really quick high-level updates because you guys have heard on these from month to month. The first virtual educational series of the Regional Housing Partnership was a great success and had just over 70 participants. So we're really excited to have such great attendance at those, showing that it is a valued set of sessions that we're doing. The second session will occur on November 16th, and the topic for that one is rural housing challenges and solutions. So we encourage you all to join us for that. We're excited to put that one on. Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Galloway next week will be presenting at the Virginia Governor's Housing Conference. We're excited to hear from them when they come back. They're going there as chair and vice chair of the Regional Housing Partnership. So we're excited.
Real quick question, Christine, will that be, will we be able to watch that? Do you know if that will be live streamed? Yes.
Yes, I think all of the sessions will be live streamed because they offer both a virtual and in person, and they will be recording sessions as well.
Sure. I think it would be awesome to share that. And of course, specifically point out Keith and Ned as they represent us. Okay. Counting on you guys. Do well. Thank you, Christine.
Absolutely. As you all saw, we released a request for concepts for the Virginia Housing Development Grant that went out to PDCs. We received $2 million, and we cast a very wide net to make sure that we were reaching out to potential public, nonprofit, private developers to submit requests, or excuse me, not requests, we requested, submit proofs of concepts so that we can see what types of projects are eligible under this type of funding. We will then review those proofs of concepts, and we will make determinations to invite applicants to then apply into the second round if they meet the criteria. We'll be looking specifically for, is there varied geographic footprint? Are there varied levels of affordability? Are there rental and home ownership? So we're gonna just look and see what we get, and then using that, we're excited to continue to move this forward to make sure that we can get some new affordable units in the region with that grant. The proposals are due back to us by November 22nd. So we'll continue to update that you all as we go. As far as transportation, the Regional Transit Vision Plan is moving along smoothly. There is a public meeting scheduled for in November on the 18th. We're gonna send that out to all of your jurisdictions. We've been advertising it pretty rigorously. We want to make sure we get as much of the public's voice in that Regional Transit Vision Plan as possible. And so we'll look to you all to make sure that you're sharing it within your jurisdictions as well. And then we have gone ahead and contracted with the Hive Creative Group. They will be doing some marketing work with the rideshare program to kind of revamp a little bit. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a different time for sharing rides, and we want to make sure it's still that we're sharing what is still available. And then the last transportation update I have for you all is we had a very successful Discover Transit Week. All of the transit providers worked together to do a joint marketing campaign. Several videos were produced. I'm sure some of you saw some of them. I can send them out to you in a follow-up email if you're interested in looking at them. But that went very well, and it was a really fun project for our staff. That's all I have in my report. Happy to take any questions if you want more information on any of those.
I had a question, Christine, on that housing, affordable housing session. Richmond has started 3D printing of homes, and I haven't gotten any feedback on that yet. I wanted to go down and see it, but there are other places. There was just a big CNN story on Texas doing a development of 100 3D homes, and they've already started, and it's supposedly very, very successful. So I didn't know if that was in any way involved in any aspect of our program.
It has not been. It's actually, so I just read an article about it a couple of weeks ago, but that is not somebody that would be used, that we issued our proposal to. I think what we were looking for is making sure that we were, as best as we could, using local and regional developers. But I'd be happy to look into that more and see if we want to cast our net out to them. I don't know, have they done, I don't know who else on here, have they done work through other RFP, or do they have like pilot projects that they're working on right now? Do you know that?
There's a 3D project that I saw Virginia Housing paid for over in Richmond. I got to see it. It's an interesting thing. It's definitely it's a concept, and it's got a little bit of a ways to go to kind of get the kinks of the efficiency out. But yeah, I just David could probably point to a Virginia Housing person who could show you. Yeah, and but wasn't that done as a demonstration project still, or are they accepting? It looked real. Is that the one that they're partnering with Virginia Tech? I think so. I think it's real. Pretty sure there's somebody's going to live in it. I'm happy to look more into that, Bob. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, the machine itself cost $340,000. And so once they purchased that, I knew they were committed to it because of all the studies they had done before they made that decision.
Gotcha. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I will look into that.
Any other Christines at this time in regards to monthly report? Anything else? All right, Christine, we came up with an idea while we were sitting here. For the 50th party, we're going to make a tiny committee of like 3 people and you or some staff to kind of brainstorm a little bit. Does that sound okay? Okay. Keith.
Yes, you're asking me. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm asking for permission.
Yes, of course you have that permission.
Okay. Keith.
What?
You're on that committee.
Great.
Anybody else want to kind of help figure out this 50th anniversary committee? I will put myself on there. I'm happy to participate. And Tony O'Brien just volunteered. So if we need to do more than us 3, then we'll come back to you. All right. So that is a new committee. And Keith, you've been made chair of that committee. Thank you. I appreciate your willingness to serve.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'm here to serve.
All right.
Fabulous party boy.
That's right. That's right. Awesome.
So moving on. And Sky out there.
So moving on into the round table. Of course, I would be remiss. We do have a commissioner who the odds may not have been in his favor that I first have to compliment. Mr. Bob Babyock, and I didn't say baby okay, so don't get used to that. It's the only time you're going to hear that. I first want to thank you for your service, and of course, hopefully, you'll continue to participate and see what Louisa wants. Even if you're not elected, you can be a citizen member. But we wanted to compliment you and thank you for your willingness to serve in a public capacity. As we all know, and in this political environment, it is not necessarily a forgiving thing all the time, and it is not luxurious, and it is not easy. So any person who's willing to step up and join that arena of public service, deserves a compliment. And of course, my most sincere thank you for all the things you've done, both with this PDC and of course, any efforts that you've had in Louisa. Anything that you've done is not unnoticed. So first and foremost, thank you, sir. We look forward to your success and maybe some more participation with us, and never forget about us. Okay. That's without a doubt. Yeah. All right.
Thank you. I'll give my swan song next month on the parting note of last meeting, but I do remember a MacArthur saying, "Old soldiers never die. They just fade away."
I gotcha. All right, well, moving into our round table, let's start with Albemarle. Mr. Galloway.
Well, we've still been at it. We just, for us, we're getting started on our comprehensive plan update. Last night, we just received an update on the time frame and how it's going to phase over that time. And out in our western part, we got our Crozet master plan was approved. I'm trying to think of some other things. Donna probably will have some other things to mention in there. But I guess we just had we're starting to take a look, getting ready for budget in terms of how we pulled back budget-wise when the pandemic first hit. Froze positions, did some actions, things like that. And then with the ARPA and the other federal monies coming down, we're starting to see what kind of monies are now freed up that are local dollars that we had set aside. So that we just got an update on yesterday, and how that will impact as we start to close this year out and get ready for budget season. So it could allow for some things that our board has in our strategic plan that we may be able to infuse with some monies that were saved up just from the approach that we did over the last 18 months to a year. Supervisor Price, I'm sure I'm missing a couple things here that we should be mentioning.
Chair Galloway, you never leave anything out. If I could just expand on that, though, what he was just talking about, in the news this morning reported that we had a surplus, and we don't really see it as a surplus. We do see it as a positive variance, and that's really a difference there, because as the Supervisor Galloway was saying, when that pandemic first hit, we cut back on our expenses substantially, and we allowed positions to be vacant when someone left. So we really reduced our expenditures substantially. And there's a cost that's associated with that in terms of fewer people doing more work. And then when we have both the CARES and the ARPA money come in, that allowed us to shift some things around. And as a result of that, we have a positive variance right now of a little over $13 million that we are now in the enviable position of being able to utilize that for some things we were not able to do over the last 2+ fiscal years. And so, I'm very proud of our county leadership for taking a conservative approach, not knowing how the economy was going to go. What we're also facing, though, as I'm sure most of the other jurisdictions around us are facing, is wages have increased over the last few months more than they have in the last 20 years or so. And we're all seeing increasing costs associated with literally everything from employment to construction. And so we have a substantial challenge ahead of us as we move forward, looking to increase our compensation so that we can be competitive, candidly, with some of our surrounding counties, which right now in some areas are paying more than Albemarle County is. So we really have some challenges ahead of us in the budget process. Another thing that Supervisor Galloway was talking about, we just approved our Crozet master plan, and last night we had an application before us to expand a park in Crozet. And as every developing community knows, it'd be wonderful if you were forming a new city and you had literally hundreds of thousands of acres and you could design everything exactly how you wanted it to be. But that's not the reality of how development takes place. And so the challenges that you have when you initially have in this instance, a smaller park that when it was first created was surrounded in large measure by open fields and now is surrounded by dense population, it really puts some pressures on you for your infrastructure in terms of roads and schools and everything that goes along with it. But fortunately, things are working very well in those respects. And I think that at least for this meeting yesterday, those were the big things, but we're really looking at some substantial challenges moving into the budget season for next year because of the rising costs, in terms of some of the capital improvement issues that we want to take care of, but also our labor costs are going to be a real challenge for us going forward. So thank you, Chair. Appreciate the opportunity to add to Supervisor Galloway's comments.
Absolutely. And first, before you go, you taught me something that I'm going to bring with me to my tax accountant. Positive variance. I'm already texting my accountant and we're getting rid of the word net income. That's going to be positive variance. Thank you. And I'll say Albemarle told me to do it. So thank you so much. Moving on to the city. Rory?
Yeah, so the big news for October is that the Planning Commission held its public hearing on our new comprehensive plan It's been in the works since January 2017 and recommended it to council for approval. So they will have their public hearing on November 15th and then a vote on December 6th. And that hopefully will be a big step in creating more housing abundance in the city and hopefully less pushing it out toward you guys. We also had preliminary outreach meetings on our new climate adaptation plan process in terms of what changes we'll need to make in order to accommodate the changes that climate will bring us. And public housing redevelopment is well underway. The very first buildings, the phase 1 of South First Street, built in the empty ball fields. The first 2 buildings are just about complete structurally. They have roofs and walls, they're topped out. So they just need to be finished. And that means that building 3 can start. And once those are done, existing South First Street residents will move into those. Those will redevelop. There was also a site plan meeting earlier this week for 6th Street, where they'll be building a 3 or 4 story apartment building to replace 6 units that are there now. So good positive progress. Things are happening. And I'll give it to Michael for maybe some less positive things.
Yes, and as it relates to housing, may the odds in Charlottesville, may the odds be ever in your favor. Mike.
Yeah, guess I could wish I could begin a little bit more positive, but probably the biggest change is we've had another turnover in top leadership in the city. Won't sugarcoat it. It's probably the biggest challenge we face. Just the turnover there. We're in a maybe unique situation of this internal stuff has a major impact on our ability to execute a lot of the things we want to begin with. Comp plan, housing, climate action planning, makes it difficult for our ability to do long range planning as well. It has a major impact on what we're able to do here locally, and probably some regional impacts as well. And really, again, it's probably the biggest challenge we face going forward. That said, we got to continue trying to move forward. As was mentioned, major comp plan update and land use map update, which hopefully we can get finished up by the end of the year, which will begin our zoning rewrite process. Discussions next month about collective bargaining for our city employees. And looking at what we can do, the estimated fiscal impact that's going to have, and just to begin planning for that. Like Albemarle County, getting ready to begin our budget discussions. We've taken on a lot of priorities and things we want to do here in the city in terms of school reconfiguration, affordable housing, climate action planning, and means we're really going to need to be strategic and be thinking about trade-offs over the next couple of years in terms of what we're going to be able to do, and really have that focus on long-range planning. And like everyone else, we're going to be following closely what impacts the recent elections are going to have. I think we're particularly interested in following what's going to happen in terms of are there taxes that are eliminated or reduced, and the impact that will have on us locally, as well as the amount of money that will be available in the Virginia Housing Trust Fund, as well as state agencies. What it's going to look like for our legislative packet, and what we realistically are going to be able to get done. And just following that really closely, as well as following if there's going to be any changes to legislation that was passed over the past couple of years. And just anticipating all those are things we're going to need to start dealing with here locally.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. And of course, PDC is rooting for you guys. Obviously, we know you're in that tough time of transition. Of course, if there's anything that we can do as an organization to assist in whatever way, we're here for you. Because as you said, what happens to Charlottesville does have a regional effect. And we feel that in job creation and so many other different factors. So thank you, and thinking about you and rooting for you. All right. Moving forward into, let's go to, let's see, Greene. Andrea.
I will pass to Dale.
Dale.
I appreciate that, I guess. All right, to keep it quick, obviously we had one new board member that will come online, I guess, in January. Our chair, Mr. Martin, did not run for re-election, so he'll be stepping down December 31st. We'll have on a current conversation on Tuesday night, we have a discussion related to the comp board $3,000 bonus that's going to the deputies. We're looking at reviewing, trying to see if we should do something for all staff, trying to make sure that everybody's treated equally across the board. The cigarette tax will come up for a vote on Tuesday night. I don't see any issues with any of that. The main thing we'll see is a fire study. This study relates to our volunteer programs. And obviously there's going to be an issue with the number of members in each fire department, the training that's involved, and trying to maintain trained volunteers. And I'm sure that each locality, especially in rural areas, are dealing with the same thing. The biggest thing that we have coming forward besides our budget, we do have a conversation with glamping, and that seems to be very controversial right now, although that has not come for the Planning Commission. So that should probably come before us in January. And as most of you know, Greene is growing. There are several other projects in the works. So expect the 29 corridor to grow considerably over the next 3 to 10 years. So you'll see a big boom in that area in Greene County. So if you're interested in coming to Greene, we should have plenty of places for you to stay. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dale. Moving on, Keith.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm going to probably echo a few things that you said earlier. First and foremost, Bob, thanks for everything, man. Thanks for what you did. I encourage you to please stay engaged. As you know, Fluvanna and Louisa are doing some good work in Zions Crossroads, and please be there. I hope to see your face at the meetings because you've got a lot to say and participate in it. So please do that. And then for Michael, we're rooting for you. I'm echoing that. Keep your chin up. You guys got this. I know you guys got the ability to make some magic happen there. As far as Fluvanna County goes, is Tony still on? Yes, yeah, so I'll let Tony tackle some of the county business. I'm super excited about the opportunity to speak with Ned over in Norfolk next week. Hats off to Christine and Ian. Ned and I got the easy job. We just got to show up and talk. They're doing the hard work in the background and giving us stuff to talk about. So hats off to them and thank you very much. I dropped a thing in a link in the feed. There is in the chat box. There is a fee for the virtual though. I think it's $199. If you want to attend, I would suggest registering, or maybe Christine or staff can have it running at the water center if somebody wants to stop by and watch it as an example. But there is a registration link in the feed. So that's it. That's all I really have, Mr. Chairman. I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to preach on the soapbox with the great work we're doing. So
excellent. Thank you so much, Keith and Ned. Looking forward to that. Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you. Bob, we're going to really miss you. It's great to have you as a partner there in the Zions Crossroads area, and you brought a lot of energy, and definitely going to miss you. I hear that the City of Charlottesville is looking for a manager, so just mentioning that in case you're interested. Anyhow, in Fluvanna, we just passed to kind of mirror what Albemarle is doing, arterial secondary road for 250 and 15. Which is a good move for the county and good for both of those roads and for both of our counties from that standpoint. We are deep in the throes of trying to do our redistricting. I'm surprised I'm the first one to be talking about this.
Oh yeah,
because it's certainly a hot debate as to whether we stay at 5, 7, or 6, and so that is on our schedule for December 15th. I'm sorry, December 1st, and then of course approving it by December 15th. And certainly if anybody's got comments on what they're experiencing, I'd love to hear those. On top of that, the pipeline from the jail to Zions Crossroads is literally now just a few days away from actually being ready to go live, I think. So
wow, okay,
that's,
exciting.
That's impressive there for us.
That's exciting.
It's going to pass its final testing is kind of the stages that we're on right now. So we're glad to finally have that put to bed and looking forward to getting the James River water deal done. I'll leave it at that because it's already getting late. And
I know.
Jesse's here.
I know.
Saying, come on, you're talking too much.
It's okay. Real quick, before I forget, I do owe some congratulations, Mr. O'Brien's election, of course. I believe, Tommy, were you up too? And I congratulations. And again, I had staunch competition, so I was unopposed this year. So it was tough, guys.
I was unopposed, but 88 people don't like me.
68 for me.
Oh, there.
So thank you guys so much. Moving on over to Louisa. Tommy, you're muted. You're muted, Tommy.
He's just talking very slowly.
You're still muted. Muted. There you go. We got you now.
I have a hard time finding this thing.
Hey, if you got the phone number 242, if you could mute yourself, that'd be great.
Got an echo going.
All right, Tommy. You're good.
Tony hit a couple of things that I found right interesting. One, this redistricting, the thing that I worry about, we've just gone through an election and now may very well have to go through it again next year after the redistricting. The other interesting thing he had was this water. We may have to be buying some water from Fluvanna, I think, if we don't finish this James River water line. We just had another meeting on it. And like I say, we just had another meeting.
Well, it's not a ton of water coming from there, as you know, but we may be able to help you out temporarily.
We'll take a trickle. Bob's got all the good stuff. Yeah. Bob's got the good stuff, and since you can hear him tonight, I'm gonna let him talk.
All right, Bob.
Well, first off, we had a very impressive briefing by David Blunt. I don't know why he chose Louisa County first to do the Thomas Jefferson
cigarette
report. Yeah, and it was astounding. As usual, he put him in awe status. We were all just spellbound. And we have the VACO conference coming up in a little more than a week, and we plan to bring some heavy issues to them, especially on this redistricting and other things. This Chickahominy pipeline, that's going to be an issue for Louisa for sure, because it's right now still in the works. They're still trying to put it together, and that's going to be a major fight. A little different feeling from Tommy regarding the James River pipeline. That actually was a very favorable and probably the most positive update we've ever had. And we're looking for some kind of a decision in the final throes of the process they're going through with the architectural review. And it looks like the Monicans are on board. So it looks like we could have a very crucial decision coming up in the first part of the year. So when that happens, the fireworks displays, it's going to be celebrating like 1999 all over again, you know. And really, we have a lot of positive things happen, mostly with development, but we got to sit back and now regroup a little bit after the changes. Our other compadre, there was actually 4 of us up for a re-election and 2 were unopposed. And my good friend at Mountain Road District, Fitzgerald Barnes, has a 1-vote lead.
Wow.
Going into Friday, where there are 25 absentee ballots yet to be counted, and it's going to almost automatically be a recount because anything 1% or less. So we're on pins and needles there because there could potentially be 2 changes within the Louisa County Board of Supervisors.
Gotcha.
Wow, that's wild.
Keith, you had your hand up.
I did. Hey, Bob, assuming that everything goes through with the permit and the withdrawal structure, you got an ETA on how long it will take to get water to up to Ferncliff and ultimately down to Zion's Crossroads?
Well, that's a estimate that we were given. We're once the approval has been achieved, because the first step is getting apparently right now Army Corps of Engineers, DCR, and DEQ are all on board. They're waiting for this final agreement and the decision of going to the alternative site where all this architectural work has been going on. And then because of the extension in distance, it's about 2.3 miles. It's going to take them a little bit longer, obviously. So they're estimating 2 years, 2 to 3 years, depending on circumstances, weather, and any other obstruction.
That's what I was looking for, 2 to 3 years. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, Bob. Appreciate you. I guess moving on to Nelson County, Dylan.
Yeah, I've got a few things. So our comp plan RFP deadline is actually tomorrow. So we are looking forward to going through the proposals we've gotten and picking someone and getting started on that. Also on Tuesday, we'll have a rezoning application going to the board for review. It's a developer in Afton that's looking to put 8 duplexes there. The district they're looking to zone to is a service enterprise district, which is basically a mixed use district for service corridor. So they're looking to do that because there are no density requirements. They've submitted proffers that the Planning Commission's recommended for approval. So they'll also be able to carry on with things like agricultural operations. So we do have some other exciting projects coming down the pipeline. Lodging also a hot topic with us right now. So looking forward to seeing what our consultants are recommending for our zoning and subdivision ordinances after we get our comp plan updated. Make everything consistent and efficient and effective, and very much looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. It's my turn. Again, guys, congratulations to all of you who have sought election. And of course, Bob, we ain't gonna forget about you. And looking forward to sharing a beverage with you at Vaco. So moving on with Nelson County, of course, the comprehensive plan is going to be a very big ambition to accomplish as we look at more opportunity with lodging and food, seeing how we can benefit with that. Nelson County's had a lot of success. And I think it's important that we kind of look at short-term rentals as not as this nuisance thing. It has a very important role in especially the economy of Nelson County in supporting our local businesses and our local artisans and our local farmers, and et cetera, et cetera. But also making sure that we're preserving long-term housing in the future. But I think we need to kind of encourage both to a degree. Other than that, we're going to have a very exciting meeting at Nelson County. This is coming up Tuesday. Hopefully, we will be looking at expediting internet access to all of our folks, potentially, after some longer discussion by the end of December of 22, shaving off 2 years of delay for some of the folks in the most remote places in Nelson. So looking at having a very great discussion there. I'm trying to think of any other major updates. Of course, the elections are always exciting. We did, speaking of redistricting, Nelson County, we do have to do some redistricting. Central District, Winter Green, Nellies Ford needs to shrink 70 people. And I have drawn a lot, we've drawn lines and I'm getting 70 more people. So my district shrunk. Ironically, Afton also shrunk, which is one of the most mind-boggling loss of residents. Nobody really saw that coming in Afton, but Nellies Ford definitely grew a couple hundred. So beyond that, I have nothing else. I appreciate the roundtable. Looks like our next meeting, we'll be talking about rideshare, legislative update, etc. And anything else we need to add, Christine? Any final comments? Having none. Mr. Blunt, anything you need to add? All right. Well, guys, thank you all so much. We look forward to a very successful next meeting. We meet on, what is it, December the 2nd.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, and have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. Eat some turkey. Also, if you haven't bought a turkey, you should probably research the prices because they're very expensive this year. So thank you all. Bob, gonna miss you, buddy. Appreciate everyone and all your efforts. And beyond that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So
I so move, and happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Yes. Second for Mr. O'Brien, motion from Andrea. Without objection, we will adjourn. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Thank you, guys. See y'all later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Now, if you could, Helen says, need one more